So let's go ahead and start with what a complex number is. The imaginary unit I is defined as I is equal to square root of -1. So here we have I is equal to square root of -1. And the set of numbers in the form A plus BI, where A and B are real numbers and I is the imaginary unit. Together it's called a complex number. And the standard form of a complex number is A plus BI. So let's go ahead and start adding the numbers now. And again, when you are working with complex numbers, when you have to add or subtract complex numbers, it is the same method as we use when we add or subtract variables like x. So here what I'm going to do, I am going to put them together. So I have 7 plus 2i plus 1 minus 4i. 7 and 1 are real numbers. I'm going to add them. 7 plus 1 gives me 8. 2i minus 4i gives me -2i. Alright, now let's go ahead and do problem 1b. It's subtracting. So I have 3 plus 2i. I distribute the negative sign. -5 plus 7i. I combine the like terms. So 3 minus 5 plus 2i plus 7i. 3 minus 5 is -2 plus 9i is your final answer. When you multiply, here in this case, you're just going to FOIL it. So I have -5 plus 4i and 3 plus I. When I FOIL it, I have 5 times 3, which is -15. 5 times I, which is positive 5i. 4 times 3, which is 12i. And 4i times 4, which is 4i squared. Remember what I squared is? I squared is -1. So I'm going to substitute that. So I have -15 plus 5i plus 12i plus 4 times -1. So I have -15 plus 5i plus 12i minus 4. I'm going to bring all the like terms together. -15 minus 4 plus 5i plus 12i. -15, -4 is -19 plus 17i. The next step is multiplication. So that would be 3i times 7i. That is -21i squared. -3 times -5, that is positive 15. Remember, I can have I squared, so it's -21. I'm going to change my I squared to -1 plus 15. That gives me 21. This is a 15i, I am sorry. 21 plus 15i. Remember, when you add complex numbers, multiply complex numbers, or divide complex numbers, your final answer should be in a standard form. Now with division, 2 plus 3i over 2 minus 3i. So I have 2 plus 3i over, oh sorry, this is 2 plus I. Remember, I multiply and divide by a conjugate. So when you multiply in the denominator, do not forget to multiply in the numerator. I'm going to go ahead and work the denominator first. So 2 times 2, 4. 2 times -I is -2i. I times 2 is 2i. I times I is -I squared. -I squared is, this would simply be negative times -1, because I squared is -1, and that would make it a positive 1. So I have 4. Remember, positive 2i, negative 2i cancel each other, plus 1. And now I'm going to go back and do the top. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times negative I, negative 2i. 3i times 2 is 6i. 3i times negative I is negative 3i squared. And again, I'm going to change my I squared to a negative 1. So I have 4. 2i plus 6i gives me 4i. Negative 3 times negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3. And 4 plus 3 plus 4i over 5. And that would be 7 plus 4i over 5. I'm going to rewrite it as a real part plus an imaginary part. Every time I see a negative, I'm going to bring the negative outside as I square root of 64 minus I square root of 25, because I is equal to square root of negative 1. Square root of 64 is 8. 8 times I is 8i. Square root of 25 is 5. 5 times I is 5i. 8i minus 5i is 3i. Same thing here. I am going to rewrite it as negative 3 minus I radical 7 squared. That is, when I FOIL it, I get negative 3 minus I radical 7 times negative 3 minus I radical 7. I'm going to go ahead and FOIL it. 3 times 3 is 9. Negative 3 times negative 7 is positive 3I radical 7. Negative I radical 7 times 3 is positive 3I radical 7. Multiplying the two last terms, negative times negative, positive. I times I squared, radical 7 times radical 7, radical 49. So I have 9. 3i radical 7, 3i radical 7 gives me 6i radical 7. I squared is negative 1. Square root of 49 is 7. So now 9 minus 7 gives me, here I have 9 and here I have negative 7. 9 minus 7 gives me 2 plus 6i radical 7. Problem 4c. I'm going to simplify this. Negative 8 plus negative 32 over 24. The negative comes outside as a I, remember? So I have negative 8 plus I radical 32 over 24. So now that would be negative 8 plus I. 32 is 16 times 2 over 24. The 16 would come outside as 4 I radical 2 over 24. Because square root of 16 is 4, so 16 comes outside as 4, combines with I. I'm going to separate them, so it's negative 8 over 24 plus 4I over radical 2 over 24. When I simplify this one, 8 goes once, 8 goes 3 times. 4 goes once, 4 goes 6 times. So I have negative 1 over 3 plus 1 over 6I radical 2.